friends, good afternoon. Today I'm going to cover one important module of Python, that is NumPy. So in today's topic, what are the things that I'm going to cover under my NumPy module is what is NumPy and why we should use NumPy, and under NumPy how to create array, then initial placeholders and some properties of NumPy, how to get the properties of the array using what commands we have to use, and how to carry out certain operations on array like view, copy, add, delete, sort, and other things like this. And also some arithmetic and comparison operations and some functions which will give array-wise computations like sum of elements of the array, minimum value in array, maximum value, mean, and median. Okay. So what is NumPy? It is a library consisting of multi-dimensional array objects, and this is used for process. It also has got some routines which are used for processing these array objects. So why we should use NumPy? Because it has got high performance for performing mathematical and logical operations on huge data, which we can view. Sometimes the data may be of multiple dimensions. And matrix, a row, a single row is a vector that is one dimensional. And if you have a number of rows and columns, it is two dimensional. And such two-dimensional matrices, if you stack them together along the rows or columns, you get a three-dimensional, and you can have multi-dimensional also. And using this NumPy package, you can perform the computations very fast and efficient also. So that is why we should use NumPy whenever we have our data which requires array operations. Okay, so how to get this NumPy? So in Python interpreter, we can just import this NumPy by using the command import NumPy. Import NumPy will import the NumPy features into Python interpreter, and we can start using functions from NumPy library. And how to identify whether it is importing from NumPy library or not is every statement in which we are going to use the NumPy library, that has to be preceded by NumPy. So the statement must be of the form NumPy dot and then whatever you want to give. So if it is an array formation, NumPy dot, then array, then the remaining syntax. So instead of typing every time NumPy in this long form, we can use a short form like NP. So that also has to be specified when we take this import NumPy as NP. So this is the general alias name that is given. You can use your own, but all developers use this NP for NumPy for importing it. So it's better you follow that so that anybody else who reads your code will be able to identify what it is. Okay, so how the arrays are formed? Arrays are the basics of NumPy. So in one 1D array, we arrange the data, our numerical data, in a row-wise form, and we call this as a 1D array. And the elements along this row are said to be along the axis 0. And in this example, there are 4 items in this 1D array. So the shape of this 1D array is 4. Okay, it doesn't have the second dimension. So in the second example, it is a 2 by 3 matrix. We can call it as in our mathematical terms, it is a 2 by 3 matrix. So along rows, it is axis 0, and along columns, it is axis 1. And we say that the shape of this 2D array is 2, 3. Shape is nothing but the dimension of this array. So 2 rows and 3 columns that represents the dimension of this 2D array. So if such 2D arrays are stacked, for example, in this third figure, we see that here is a 2D array consisting of 4 rows and 3 columns, and such 2 stacks are there to constitute a 3D array. So along the rows, we have axis 0, and along the columns, we have axis 1, And along the stackings, we have axis 2. And the shape of this is defined by 4, 3, 2. 4 represents the axis 0, number of elements, number of rows along the axis 0, then axis 1, and then axis 2. Okay, this is how the arrangement of arrays will be in NumPy. So how to identify the elements in this array? Just like we have the indexing of elements in matrices, we also index the elements in the array like this. In matrix, the array index, matrix index of the rows and columns start from number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. But whereas in NP array, NumPy array, it starts with 0. So this first row is the 0th row, then first row, second row, and third row. So we have, this is a 4 by 3 matrix with row indexes starting from 0 to 3 and column indexes 0, 1, and 2. So the first element is represented, this is the matrix or array A, a two-dimensional array represented by the capital A. The first element is A, then 0, 0 enclosed within the square bracket. So 0, 0 represents, it is the element in the 0th row and 0th column. So intersection of that will give you this element, that is 1. Then similarly, the next 2 is having index A of 0, 1, and this is 0, 2, and it continues. If you take the last row, it is the index of this row is 3. So this is A0, A30, 31, and 32. Okay. So that is how we identify the various elements. With that, let me go take to my Jupyter notebook. So as I said, to use the NumPy, we have to import it, import NumPy. And since we want to use a short form for this NumPy, I'm importing NumPy as NP. So import NumPy as NP. And this is the class, today's class. So let me execute this cell. And if there is no error in this, it will not give any output. Suppose if I made any mistake in either defining the spelling of that NumPy or any space like that, it will give an error. Now that it don't have an error, it has executed and given the line number. Next, let us first see how to create an NumPy array. So here in the first example, I am designating the array as num, and that is equal to create the array, np.array. This will create the array. So what is the array elements here? That has to be enclosed within this parenthesis, and the array elements have to be enclosed within the square bracket. Okay. So the array having elements 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 is formed by using the NumPy library module as np.array so much. Now if I ask it to print what is NumPy, I'll get the array which is having these elements and enclosed within the square bracket. So this indicates that this is an array having these elements. Okay. So we can also form an array using tuple. So here in the second line, I am defining a tuple. See, there is 10, 20, 30, 40 enclosed within the curved bracket represents a tuple. And this tuple, if I form it as an array, I use np.array. Then within the curved brackets, you enclose that tuple. Then if you print that, you will get a array which is enclosed within the square bracket having those elements. Okay. So this tuple also we can form an array using the tuple also. So then how to get the dimension? And before that, I explained 1 dimension, 2 dimension, and 3 dimension. A single element, if you are viewing it as an array, it becomes a 0 dimension array. Say for example, np.array 56. So this is only one element that I am defining it to form an array. So if I print text, I'll get just 56 within the square bracket. And to know what is the dimension of it, this is the function. So you give the array name, then dot, then ndim. Ndim will give you the dimension of the ND array, and print x dot ndim will print the dimension of this array that I have formed using only one element. Okay, so this is the array with 56, and it has got 0 dimension. Okay, so that is what meant by 0 dimension, a single element in 0 dimension. So if you enclose it within a bracket here, then it also gives the same thing, but you get the bracket here. Even otherwise, it is an array with 0 dimension. Okay. Now, let us find out how to find the dimension of the array when it is for different types of arrays here. So in the first example, I have formed an array, np.array, with the elements 2, 4, 6, 8 enclosing within the square bracket, and the whole thing enclosed within the curved bracket. So that forms an array 2, 4, 6, 8. And what is the dimension of this array is printed like this, x dot ndim. Okay. So this, what is the dimension of this array? Anyone can answer now?
1D.
1D, is it not? So I must get 1 as the dimension of the array. So the first line is printed the array that I have formed, and in the second line, I have got the dimension of this array. So similarly, a two-dimensional array. How to form the two-dimensional array from the elements? So this 2, 4, 6 enclosed within bracket forms one row, and another row is 1, 3, 5 within square bracket forms the second row. That whole thing enclosed within the square bracket gives the whole of the array. And to form the array, we should put this within curved brackets and give the statement dot array. So let me execute this. So you got this. So first row 2, 4, 6, second row 1, 3, 5, and that whole thing enclosed within the square bracket, indicating that this is the whole array. What is the dimension of this array? 2. Okay, so it has got 2 rows and 3 columns. So it is dimension is 2. Similarly, if you have such, see this one element which is having 2 rows. First row is 1, 2, 3. Second row is 4, 5, 6. Whole thing enclosed within square bracket forms one 2D array, and such 2D arrays are stacked. See here, this is another, sorry. This is another 2D array having rows. First row 2, 4, 6. Second row 3, 4, 7. So this is a two-dimensional array. This is a two-dimensional array, and they are stacked together to form a three-dimensional array. So how it looks when we print this array? Let me execute this. So first one is this, and behind this will be there to form a axis, second element in the along the axis 2. Okay, so this is axis 0, axis 1, and axis 2. If you imagine it as a 3D object, this will be behind this, forming the second object in the along the axis 2. Okay, so if I print the dimension of this, I must get a number which is 3, which represents that this is a three-dimensional array. Okay, is this clear up to this? How to create an array, how to find out the dimension of an array, and how a two-dimensional and three-dimensional and one dimension and even zero dimension arrays look like. Shall I proceed? Anybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sometimes it becomes necessary to place the required value in a array. Say, for example, we have a two-dimensional array, and we want it to be a unit array. Just like we have a unit matrix, no? What is a unit matrix? It has got 1 along its diagonals and 0 remaining elements, is it not? Or it may be all zeros, and then while computing, we will go on replacing these zeros with the computed value. Like so, initially we have to initialize it with some value. So that is done by placing the placeholders in the elements of the array. Suppose I want to form an array, a a single dimensional array with 4 elements, all zeros. So in the first line, np.zeros4 will give me an array with 4 elements which are all zeros, and you also observe that they are all floats, 0 point, 0 point, it has printed. Okay. So by default, it will print float values. And if you want it to be an int, I'll make a separate line. You must give the data type also. 4 comma data type, d type is equal to int, that is integers. Then it will not print this decimal point. It will only print 0, 0, 0. You observe the difference between the previous array and this array. The data type is converted from float to integer here. Okay, so that already I have it here. Sorry. Okay, so next, this is one-dimensional array formation with all elements 0. Suppose I want a two-dimensional array with 2 rows and 3 columns, but all zeros, initiate with all zeros. So the syntax is np.zeros. Then within curved brackets, you enclose the dimension of the array you want to form, which is a tuple having number of rows and columns. Okay, so this is a tuple with number of rows and number of columns separated by comma, and that whole thing is enclosed within the curved parenthesis, and the statement given for converting it to a zeros matrix is np.zeros. Let me execute this. Now you see here, it is a 2 rows and 3 columns. All are float objects with zeros, 0 elements, 0 point, 0 point, 0 point. Okay. So you can even construct a 3D array like this, 2 comma 3 comma 4. The dimension of the 3D array is enclosed within this curved bracket. It's given as a tuple np.0 within bracket, the tuple having the dimension of the array. So each one is of 3 by 4 matrix, 3 by 4 array. Dimension of each 2D array is 3 by 4, 3 rows and 4 columns. And it has got a third dimension, which is also having the same elements, but along the axis 1, axis 2. So this is the 3-dimensional array that is formed. And to find out what is the dimension of this, not the dimension, what is the shape of this 3D array, just give x dot shape. So array name dot shape will give you the shape of the array. So this at the output, the last output is the shape that is given for this. Say for example, suppose I print here, what is the shape of this? So for that I have to identify it by means of some name. Y is equal to np.zeros 2 by 3. Then y dot shape. So what is the shape of this? It is 2 rows and 3 columns. Okay. So it has not printed the 0 matrix here because I did not give the print statement. Whatever the last statement, it has executed. So now that I have the output of this array form created, and also what is the shape of that array. Okay, that is about zeros, how to form arrays with only 0 elements. So this is another example where we have a 3-dimension. What is the dimension? Let me check. that is not a way to give the dimension, no? How to get the dimension? Z dot n dimension, sorry, ND array dimension. Okay. This is, okay, fascinating. Because here I have taken a tuple. Okay, but it has given me the array only, but it is considering it as a tuple. That is why it is giving it as not callable. Okay, now I got it. So the dimension is 3 dimensional. We'll also print the matrix. It is a 3-dimensional array. Each 2-dimensional array is having 2 rows and 4 columns. 2 rows and 4 columns. And the third axis is having 3 elements. Okay, that is about filling up with zeros. Suppose I want to fill it with any other number. Say here, it is done by using this full, np.full. Then what is the dimension of the array we want to fill? And what is the number with which we want to fill? A 2 by 3 array, fill it with 5. So a 2 by 3 array, fill it with 5. So like this, we can have any required value to be filled over the whole of the array. Next, here is another feature of this NumPy. We can generate random numbers of any dimension. So this random.rand will generate random numbers. How many? That will be given within this bracket. So random numbers between 0 to 1. 0 to 1, all fractions. So this forms an array with 5 elements. All the 5 are random in nature, and that is generated by this function random.rand, and that is organized as a 1-dimensional array. So you can even have random numbers in 2-dimensional array format. Just np.random.rand, then give the dimension of the array with which you want to fill up the random numbers. And you can, instead of zeros, you can fill up all ones also. So here I have given a 3 by 3 array, fill it with 1. Okay, fill it with 1 on floating points. If you don't want that floating point, define here d type is equal to int. So that I have done here, the second line, all integers 1, 1, 1. Okay, so that is np.ones. So you can form a diagonal matrix with all ones by this function EYEI. So let me call that diagonal matrix as Z. np.I. How many dimension? It's a 5 by 5 matrix with data type integer. Let me put with all diagonal elements 1 and the remaining elements 0. Okay, that is about how to use matrices with placeholders, how to initially place a certain value in the array at the required shape, and how to do that. Any doubts in this? You have done in your DS2 lab, no? Initialize an array or a matrix with all zeros and then compute, and after computing, put that in the 0. Or sometimes you have even initialized a unit matrix like this, diagonal. Shall I proceed? Anybody?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next, how to find the size of the array. Size means how many elements are there in that array. And then shape. Shape means how many number of rows, that is number of elements along 0 axis, 1 axis, and 2 axis, like that, multi-dimension. Then also find out where the memory location is for that particular array. Okay, so that is right by using this ID, then a blank parenthesis. So let me form an array using these 2 rows, 2, 4, 6 is left hand side, and also find out what is the size of that array. What is the size of this array? Size gives you number of elements in this array. So what is the size of this array?
6.
6, is it not? So I must get a size as 6. Okay. If you want, you can even print y and then get the size. Okay, 6 elements are there. So z dot size will give the size, and y dot shape will give the dimension of the array. Okay, so z, where is z? Our z is here, which is a 5 by 5 matrix that it has taken. So how many elements are there? 25 elements. And if you print the size, that is 25. If you print the shape of y, y is 2 by 3, and shape of z is 5 by 5. Z is this matrix and y is this matrix. Okay, that is how we find the size and shape. Then how to find the memory location of this. And before that, so let us arrange numbers from 0 to 6 and form an array. So that is done by this arrange. So let me execute this in this program. So any program, if you want to use NumPy, you have to first import it. Anyway, in this page already I have imported. You don't have to again import it. Okay, this is as good as removing this. So I'll form an array A by arranging 0 to 6 elements, np dot arrange, then print A. So what is the memory location of this A? Just print ID of A. ID of A will give you where this array is located, and that I'm designating with the string memory location of A. I will print this string and then where the memory location is. And then I'll assign that array to another array B, and also print where the memory location of that B. Okay, so first array is arranging 0 to 6. So always this upper limit -1, it will stop at that point. So 0 to 5, it has formed an array, 1D array. So this is the array A. So what is the memory location of that? This is the address of that memory location where this array is located. Then I have equated that to, not equated, assigned A to B, and let me also print B. So B is same as A. And what about the memory location of B? What do you observe in the memory locations of this A and B?
Same.
They are the same. That means even though we have referred or assigned A to B, it has not formed a separate array in a separate memory location. Instead, the array that we have stored in the location of the variable name A, same thing is pointed by another variable name B. So both variables A and B will point towards the same array, which is located at one location. Okay. So this is somewhat memory saving, where we don't want to have a multiple copies of the things. Only temporarily we just want to refer to that matrix at certain point. Then we can make use of this assigning the array to another name. Okay. So now let me change the shape of this B. Here I am changing the shape of the B matrix, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a single dimension, and then printing that B, and let us see what happens. So what happened? If I change B, A also changes, is it not? Because both are pointing towards the same object. If I change the object, whether I print A or B, I get the same answer, is it not? Because the data is same.
Yes, ma'am.
One
Yes,
single
ma'am.
data is referred by two different names. So if I change the shape of one variable name, then automatically the other name also will point towards the changed array. Okay, so that is why we got this A and B type in a different changed dimension 3 by 2. So earlier it was a single one-dimensional array having 6 elements. Now given the shape 3 by 2. That means 6 objects are taken and arranged in the form 3 rows and 2 columns. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is this shape will give us ability to modify the shape of the array. Okay, so any doubt in this? Size, shape, and ID?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Next, see, we can copy the array. See, previously we just referred to the same array by different variable names. So we can even make a copy of it by two methods. One is by using view, and another one is by using the command copy. So what is the difference between these two? View is also called a shallow copy. The shallow copy, what it does, it makes a copy, and if you make any change in one, that will be reflected to the other also. Suppose if you change a number in first array, same thing happens in the second array also. Okay. So to illustrate that, I have taken this array A, same array, arrange A range 6, np dot A range 6, and reshape it to 3 by 2. So in a single line, I have given taking 0 to 5 as an array and organizing it in a shape of 3 by 2 matrix, 3 rows and 2 columns. Okay. So if I print that, I'll get this matrix. Okay. So now it is the same thing. So print that array. Print the string array A is so much. It will print the same thing. Now I will create a view of this A and designate it as the array B. Now our array B is A dot view. So if I print B, I must get the same thing. Okay. So array A is this and viewed thing is this. And I have also given this statement to get the ID of the two arrays A and B. So ID of A, ID of B, I have asked it to print. So what you observe in the memory location address for the two arrays?
Different.
They're different.
Different. So whereas when I assigned it, I got the same memory location, and here I got the different memory locations. Okay. So even though they are different, suppose I want to change this 0, 0 element. What is B00? So this is array A and this is array B. So what is the element corresponding to this index 0, 0?
0.
0.
0, is it not? So in place of that, I'm changing it to 99. Now let me print this A and B. What happens? Even though I have changed it in only B array, the change has been reflected into the array A also. Did you observe this? Array A is also having the change in its element 0, 0.
Yes,
So view will have this facility. Even though they are different, you can make change and that is reflected into the other. It's just that is why it's called a shallow copy. But if you make the changes in the shape, that will not be reflected. So here, suppose if I change the shape of the B array as 2 by 3 and then print A and B, A will remain the same. A will remain the same, but B has changed to 2 by 3. Okay, first row is 99, 1 and 2. The second row is 3, 4, 5. Followed? So changing the shape will not affect, but changing any element value will affect both the arrays. Okay, so similarly, same thing. You have different IDs. So instead of 0, 0, now I have changed in the A array, first array, the row number 2 and 0 element. What is the row number 2 and 0 element in A? This is our A. What is A 2, 0?
4.
Is
4.
4. Is it not? So 0, 1, 2. The row number 2 and 0 element is 4. That 4 I am replacing it by 777. Let me get it. So that whatever a change I made in A also as reflected in B. Okay. So whether you make it change here or here, that will be reflected. And they are in different locations. They are not same. You should not confuse that. They are two different arrays located in different locations, but they have this relation here. That is about shallow copy, which is a view command. That clear? Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So next, copy. This will make any changes if you make in the original array, that will not be reflected into the copied array. So that is why it's called a deep copy. So A is equal to np.array. I have taken here an array of 3 by 2 dimension. First row is having 10, 10. Second row is having elements 2, 3. Third row is 4, 5. So if I print that, so this is the array formed by the elements that I have taken here. Now I'll make a copy of this A into another variable name B. That is A.copy. We'll copy this A into B. So B is also same as A. And let me check the memory locations. Memory locations, are they same? No. Is it not? They are in different locations. So B is a copy of A. Now let me change in A, that is the parent array. The first element, I'll change it to 999 and print that. So A is having a change in the first element. What about B? B has not changed. Okay. So when under situations where you want to have a copy, but you want to make the changes only in one of it. So make that as a parent array, then make a copy, that is the child array, and you just keep it and make whatever changes you want to make here and do the computation. So this helps in that way. So similarly, there is a change made here for a different item, which is indexed as 1, 1. One row number 1 and column number 1. Change it to, instead of 3, it has to change it to 666. That is also not affecting the second array B. Okay. So I got it back and have made a change in the B array. That should not change A. So I have changed the element in the B, and that has not affected the A array. Parent has not affected, only the changes in the second array. So similarly, I've changed the first one in A. You observe here, this has changed, whereas this has not changed. So this is about copy and view. Is a copy clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then how to add, delete, and sort the values in an array? To add an array, first let me construct an array. A range 10, from 0 to 9 you will have as 1D array. Then I want to add this 10 to this array. That can be done using this function append, np.append, then which array you want to append, what element you want to append. So this will put 10 at the end of the array. So after 9, that will be added. Suppose you want to add it anywhere in between this array, then you have to give the location where you want to add that array. So that is done by the control statement insert. So np.insert, then the array name, and then location, and then what data you want to insert. So location is 2, 0, 1, 2. This is the index location 2. Instead of 2, I have replaced it with 20. Not replaced, it has been inserted in the place of index 2. Then remaining numbers are pushed, so that this previously it had index 2, now it has an index 3 and the remaining elements. Okay, so our X is this. Okay, then how to delete? To delete, just use np.delete. Then array name and which index value, having which index you want to delete, and whether it is along axis 0 or axis 1, you just have to specify here. So here I have formed an array Y with np.array, and it is a 2-dimensional array. First row is 2, 4, 6, second one is 1, 3, 5. And I want to delete 0 along axis 0. What is the 0th index element along axis 0? Can you identify here?
2.
2. This is axis 0. Along axis 0, you have 2 and 1. Along axis second column, you will have 4 and 3. Okay, 6 and 5. So this first one will be deleted. Sorry, the whole row will be deleted. So axis 0, first one will be deleted, and you will have 1, 3, 5. Okay, so let me also print this one. Print Y. Suppose if I make it axis 1, what happens? I'll insert a new cell. If I change it to axis 1, do I get it? So what has happened? 0th column is completely deleted, and the remaining parts are here, 4, 6, 3, 5. Okay, so if I make it axis 1, that is index 1 along axis 1, you will have the column number with index 1 is deleted, this 4 and 3, and the remaining elements are here. So you can even make this 2, so that the last column is deleted and the remaining are here. Okay, so that is about how to delete elements in the array. So next, how to sort the array. Sort means if you have an array with elements, just sort them so that they are organized in an increasing value of their value. So here I have an array with elements 9, 0, 2, 1, 5. And if I give np.sort, it will sort it in the order 0, 1, 2, 5, 9. Okay. So original array is A, and sorted array I have represented as variable B. So B is 0, 1, 2, 5, 9. Is this clear? Adding, deleting, and sorting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The next, how to combine two arrays, and also how to change the shape of the array, that is reshaping. and how to make a multi-dimensional array into a single dimensional array. That is called flattening. Combining means combining two or more arrays together to form a single array. Reshaping means array with a certain shape, you just change the shape of that. Then flattening means just a multi-dimensional array, make it a single dimensional array. So for that, I have considered two arrays, array 1 and array 2. So array 1 is np dot array and it is formed with 1, 2, 3, 4. So you must observe the syntax here. If you simply give this, it will not take. You need one more parenthesis which encloses that array elements which are within the square bracket. So that is array 1. And an array 2, which is having 5, 6, 7, 8 as elements, I have performed using a numpy np dot array. Now I want to make a third array, which is array 1 and array 2 combined along the axis 0. Okay, so before that, let me print array 1 and also array 2. So that combining is done by concatenation. So the function is concatenate. Then within parenthesis, you pass the arguments. First one is a tuple consisting of the arrays you want to concatenate, and then along which axis you want to concatenate. So and then print array 3. So they simply, if you just type array 3 and enter, it will give you the array 3. That also does the function of printing. So now I have this array 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, array 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. Since I am trying to concatenate it along axis 0, it has along axis 0, this has been brought to this array and added here. So it has become a one-dimensional array with 8 elements. Okay. Suppose if I make this axis 1, I'll take it to another cell. I will make this axis 1. That is because it is one-dimensional array. We cannot have axis 1 in a one-dimensional array, is it not? So that is why I leave this cell as it is so that you will know when you read these notes. So what has happened here? So to illustrate that, I have taken two-dimensional arrays. Array 1 is np dot arrange 0 to 9, that is 10 minus 1. Then reshape it into 2 by 5 array. Then that is our array 2. Then I have considered another array which is obtained as arranging. Arrange starting number is 11 to 21 minus 1. That is our array 3. Then reshape it into 2 by 5 array. Okay. So if I print that array 2 and 4, so I get the elements like this. So for array 1 is 0 to 9. That is formed into a 2 by 5 array. So this is the array 1. And next one is, this is the array 2. So let me print array 1, array 2 also. So this is our array 2 and this is our array 4. So next what I'll do is I'll concatenate array 2 and 4 along the axis 0. So if I do that, I'll get another 2 matrix, which is, so along axis 0, that means along the row wise. So this vertically adds to this previous array. and it becomes a 4 by 5 array. Suppose if I do it along axis 1, it becomes, so axis 1 is column wise. So this whole thing will be put in this place, okay, along the axis 1. So this becomes a 2 by 10 array. Okay, so that is how we combine the arrays as required in our problem. So you understood how to combine the arrays along the axis, whether it is axis 0 or 1, or if it is further dimension, axis 2, 3, like that. Anyway, you don't require that much of exposure now. You understand the basics of combining the arrays. Is this clear? Anybody?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am.
What happened? Feeling hungry? Somebody said ma'am now. Shall I proceed? I just have few only. Okay, arithmetic operations. So we can perform arithmetic operations on arrays like array 1 and array 2 plus then array subtract one array from the other. So element wise it does this, and also multiply, divide, exponent, take the exponential of that is raised to some power, or even take square root. So all this element wise it performs. So I'm taking the same example from 0 to 9, organize it into a 2 by 5 matrix, and then from 11 to 20, organize it into another 2 by 5 matrix. Then get the two arrays, array 2 and 4 are these. Now I want to add array 2 with array 4 and make it as an array 5. So what would be the elements of the array 5? Add 0 to 11 element wise with the appropriate index. 1 to 12, 2 to 13. So corresponding similar indexed elements will be added and forms the array 5. Okay. So a single array with 2 by 5 dimension, and the elements are derived from the elements of array 2 and array 4 by adding the respective elements. Okay. So I want to access array 5 element 1 comma 2. So 1 comma 2 is 25. Okay. So to access the elements. So you can even perform the subtraction. Array 2 comma minus array 4. That is first one minus second one. That is 0 minus 11. Minus 11. Then all elements you observe here, they are minus 11. 4 minus 14 is minus 11. Then, sorry, 4 minus 15 is minus 11. 3 minus 14 is minus 11. 5 minus 16. All the elements are going to be minus 11 when I subtract these two arrays. I can even multiply the arrays. Just give the multiplication symbol asterisk and multiply. Followed? So multiplication of 0 into 11, 5 into 16 is 80, like this. And even perform the division. Element-wise division occurs. So this is 0 by 11, then 1 by 12. Second element is 1 by 12. You can use your calculator and verify this answer. And also we can perform exponentiation. So array 2 raised to the power array 4. That means each element is taken and find the corresponding indexed element in the second array and raise the first element to that value. So array 5 is formed using this. You can check. So first one is 0 raised to 11. Second one is 1 raised to 12. Third one is 2 raised to 13. You can just check the answers. 1 raised to 12 is this. This will be 2 raised to 13. Okay. And even we can have the square root. Just for checking purpose, what I have done is I have arranged 0 to 20 by taking a step of 2. So it will take 0, then skip 1, then 2, then skip 3. So all even numbers I have taken and arranged it into an array, array 6. Then I have reshaped into a 2 by 5 array. Then I printed array 7 that I have designated as array 7. Then after that, I'm taking the square root of this array 7. So array 6 is, array 7 is organizing from 0 to 20, all even numbers, and organizing it in a 2 by 5 fashion, 2-dimensional array. And then this is the array 7, which is having square root of each of these numbers in the array 7. Okay, so you observe this third element, which is 4. Square root of that is 2. And square root of 16, last but 1, that is 4. So you can check the remaining one. So that is how we get the we can perform arithmetic operations on arrays. Is that clear? Shall I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, comparison. So element wise we can make a comparison, and also array wise also we can make a comparison. So for this again I'm taking the same example as before, 0 to 10 arranged in 2 by 5, and then 11 to 21 arranged in 2 by 5, and those arrays we know they are these. Let us check whether array 4 is similar to array 2. That is array wise, this is element wise comparison. So I will get element wise comparison, result of element wise comparison. Is 0 equal to 11? False. Is it not? So similarly, we know that all the elements are different. That is why I'm getting this. Suppose if I change any element here, instead of this, I'll also make it as some 10 to 20. Okay, at least one element is similar. Which one is similar? No similar. Instead of 10, I'll start from 8. 8 to 18. So now I have a two common elements for, but they are not comparing with here. No. Then also you don't get true. So you can try, you can form an array where you have certain indexed values in both the matrices or arrays same, so that some corresponding to those elements you will get true in place of these false. Okay, that is element wise comparison. So here to this array dash equal np dot array underscore equal, then the two arrays which you want to compare array wise is given within the bracket here. So this compares the whole of the array with the array that you want to compare with. So this is also false. Okay. You make a change in this so that you will get some true here, and you also take two arrays. Suppose let me copy this and insert a cell below and paste it. Instead of, I'll also take an array 8 and assign the array 2 to it. Okay. Now I'll make a comparison of 8 with 2. Okay. Now both the arrays are same. That's why I got true. Got it? Is this comparison element wise and array wise clear? Anyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Next, there are some functions. This is the last part. I'll close after this. So there are some functions which are performed array wise. So taking the sum of all the elements of the array, or finding the minimum value element in the array, or finding the maximum value element in the array, and finding the mean of all the values in the elements of the array, and also finding the median. Median means it is the center element which separates the whole array into two parts. So for that, I'm considering the same two arrays of 2 dimensions each by arranging the sequentially the number 0 to 20 into 2 arrays. So now array2 dot sum axis is equal to 0. So this will sum the elements along the column and give the result. So elements along the column means array2 is the first one. So if you sum the elements along the column 0 plus 5, 6 plus 1, 7 plus 2, like this it happens, and it will give you the answer. So sum of the elements along the axis 0 is vertical like this, is the result of this dot sum axis 0. Suppose if I give axis 1, it will sum up along the rows. So first row sum is 10, second row sum is 35. So 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 4 is 10. Then add the second row, you get 35. So that is how we sum up and give the respective axis, and then that will calculate the sum as required. Then to find out the minimum value. So here I am taking array 4. This is the array 4. So what is the minimum value in this array 4? That is
11.
11, is it not? And what is the maximum?
20.
20.
So I must get 11 and 20. So what is the mean? Sum up all and divide by number of elements. That it is easy to sum here. So what is the sum? 45, is it not? 45 divided by 10.
10.
So mean is 4.5.
4.5.
So I must get 4.5. To get the median, so to illustrate this, I am arranging 0 to 9 and forming an array X. So this is the array 0 to 9, that is 9 minus 1, it stops. So how many elements are there? 9 elements are there, and the median represents the center of the array, which separates it into two parts. So median here is 4. What if we have even number of values? So let me take this, first insert a cell below, take this. Instead of up to 0 to 9, I'll make it as 8 and run it. So it has calculated. It has calculated taking the two center values and average of that. Okay. Average of the two center values, 3 and 4. 7 divided by 2, that is 3.5. That is termed as the median of the array. So that is about the array-wise getting some properties using these functions. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is what I wanted to cover today. I have covered everything. If you have any doubts now also, you can ask. This is the NumPy library. Any other doubts? No?
No, ma'am.
No.
No, ma'am.
Okay, we shall continue this tomorrow. A small part I have left here, that is about the matrices and matrix operations like transpose, inverse, those things. And then continue with the next module, that is matplotlib, in the next class, that is on Monday. Okay, thank you for listening. Jansi, you are here? Okay, friends, I'll close here.